Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Max Potential Habits. This is a super fun one because today we have on a guest who is currently in her car because she is on the road doing business with 6 kids and dogs, animals, pets. We'll talk about it. We'll dive deep. But I love this awesomeness of how you can take a remote business anywhere you really want to go. And so we're going to talk about some of the adventures she's having, the way she's building her business, and how she helps other entrepreneurs with their clarity, mechanics, and mindsets. This is Carmen Ventrucci. She is the CEO of True SISU Life, and we're going to find out what SISU means. She's known as an International Business Igniter. She has, so she's touring the US with 6 kids, a spouse, and a dog. She's the breadwinner of the family, so super powerhouse woman who's, to me, has a very adventurous soul, which I love. So we're going to dive deep into all things that, bring value to you, actionable strategies for you and your business, and just have a really fun conversation about what it's like to be on the road while building a business or expanding her business and helping other people do that too. So welcome to the show today, Carmen.
Thank you so much. I am very excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. This is so fun. I love, so when, for listeners, when we started pre-show, she said, I'm in my car at the other end of the campground, because I would imagine your kids would be like knocking on the window, Mom, where are you? What's happening?
It's happened. It's occurred before. I learned my lesson on that one.
That's so great. So right now your office is your car.
My office is my car. This is a Chevy Suburban. We call it the Beast because it is a beast. It fits all 8 of us plus the dog and tows a 37-foot travel trailer around the country. So
nice.
It's a very well-earned nickname, and it's my mobile office.
So cool. To me, there's so many different ways we can do business. One thing before COVID, I was like, oh, I'm going to get rid of everything and put whatever I need in storage and then just travel around in Airbnbs. And then, COVID happened. So I decided I should wait, but it's so fun to build a business that's on the road. I know before this, you're doing the same business now as you were before you went on the road.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So share a little bit. Well, first, sometimes I like to start with your favorite quote. What's a favorite quote or a quote that you live by?
Oh my goodness, there's so many. My all-time favorite though is from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. And you guys have probably heard it before. I'll paraphrase. It's not like an exact quote, but Alice and the Cheshire Cat are chatting. And the Cheshire Cat asks Alice, well, where do you want to go? And Alice says, well, I don't really know. And then the Cheshire Cat says, well, then clearly any path will do. And so the moral of the story is, if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? And we, some might say I'm wandering right now across the country. I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I also have a plan and I know where I'm going. And I'm just having fun along the way. Yeah. And so the point of that quote is that you have to know what you want. You have to know where your end goal is in business, personal life, relationships, whatever it is, so you know how to get there.
So true. And, that's so powerful because it's so easy to think, I can be a wandering spirit and I can have this and that and the other. But if you don't signal the direction you want to go in, then to me, we talk a lot about manifestation here. And so when you're manifesting, if you don't have clarity where you want, the universe is going to bring you a whole bunch of stuff to help you figure it out. And it might not be what you want exactly. So the faster you can gain clarity, right? Yeah. So I know you're a master at that, helping people gain clarity.
So clarity is one of the things I focus on quite a bit with my clients because, like I said, you need to know what your success criteria are. You need to know where you want to go, and you can fill in the details along the way. And you're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to change your plans. That's just life. Yet it just baffles me sometimes how much people don't really know what they want. Or they don't know where they're going. And it's okay. We all go through it. The trick is to get out of it and really know what you want, know what you're all about. And so when I work with my clients on clarity, it's not only it's clarity on your business, who your business serves. It's clarity on your clients, who they are, what their issues are, what keeps them up at night, what makes them happy, what goals they have. And it's clarity on you as a person. What are your core values? What is your mission in life? What impact do you want to make? And so so I always say, when you're clear on you, your clients, and your business, things just get easier, and they do get easier.
Yeah. Okay. I want to know from your perspective and your expertise, what do you think are the stuck points for people when they don't have clarity? When they don't know those things, what do you think is keeping them stuck in that place?
I've never been asked that question before. This is a really good question. So they don't, how do I say this? They're trying to do all the things.
Mm,
They get stuck because they have trouble using the word no. And so when you have clarity and you know what you need to work on, again, whether it's in business, personal, relationship, it's easier to say things to excuse me, I'm getting so excited, I'm tripping over my words. It's easier to say no to the things that aren't within that clarity or aren't within your alignment. And like, I was just speaking with a client today, and she doesn't even know where to start. Like, she's like, I need to do all these social media things. I'm like, okay, say no to, just pick one, say no to the rest for now, pick one and do it. And so a lot of the times it's just trouble getting started because we're bombarded with all the stuff we need to do. And like some of it we actually need to do. Some of it we can put on to the side, put on the back burner, or just not do it all. And so that's where I see people where when they lack that clarity, that's what gets in their way. They want to do all the things. They have trouble saying no to things. And when you have trouble saying no to things, it's really hard to get it all done.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is really wise. I mean, I was thinking as you were speaking
Mhm.
about shiny object syndrome and
Mhm.
information overload,
Mhm.
and especially when you're new at starting a business, there's a
Mhm.
lot to learn.
Yes.
And so we can easily get, oh, I've got to do this. Oh, now this. And, it can take you down the rabbit hole instead of thinking, what's my number one thing to get an ROI as fast as possible?
Mhm.
Like, what's the
Yes.
fastest path to cash?
Yep.
Especially for a startup, that's really important.
Mhm.
And I think it's another important thing you're raising is, it's like in that brand identity or who
Mhm.
you're trying to attract your way.
Mhm.
If you don't have clarity on those things, then it's going to take you a lot longer to
Yeah.
get going.
Mhm.
But then it's also that part. This is something I think about a lot. Like when we're starting businesses, you don't totally know yet what you don't know.
Exactly. And
So
that's
then,
okay.
yeah. So
Mhm.
it's like
You're
I
gonna
think it's partly why coaching is so important, right? It's
Right.
someone else helping you stay on that path and go, okay, take the
Exactly.
next step, then the next step, then the
Mhm.
next step.
And embrace the mistakes along the way too, because those are some of you, like, it's feedback. Feedback is one of the
Yeah.
greatest gifts we have in business and in life. A mistake is a form of feedback. You learn not to do it that way again. Maybe you tweak this or that, or you go another way altogether. And, when I talk to my kids, we talk a lot about making mistakes. And, if they get 8 out of 10 on a spelling test, they're going to remember those 2 words they got wrong, right? Because they
Yeah.
made a mistake. And so embrace the mistakes. Yeah, it's okay to try to minimize them. I understand that. But embrace the mistakes because that's how
Yeah.
you learn.
Will you share with listeners a couple mistakes that you've made along your way in building your
Mhm.
business?
Yes. And so one of the mistakes I made, um, I didn't I was going after the wrong people. I was going after the wrong clients in the beginning. And I thought that everybody was like me and wanted to leave their corporate job and start their own business. When in reality, a lot of the people I work with, they have a side hustle that
Mm-hmm.
they want to scale up, yet they still want to stay in their job. And so that I really had to start changing my messaging and changing my marketing so that I could attract those people. Because my mistake was assuming everyone was like me. But like,
Mm-hmm.
no, there's a lot of people who love their jobs, and that's awesome. There's also people who don't love their job and want to do something else, and that's also awesome. And so it was still tweaking my messaging and my marketing so I would find my people, but it had to be a little bit broader than what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you have to niche down, sometimes you have to expand your niche a little bit. I had to expand my niche a little bit.
It's interesting because I think about that a lot. It's bringing up this thought about how when we're starting, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many people to listen to about ways to go. And, you can hear
Mm-hmm.
one expert say like niche down, you have
Mm-hmm.
to, that's your fastest path. And then other people, it's like, oh, actually you're too narrow. What you're
Mm-hmm.
saying is like, you learned you were too narrow.
Yeah.
So, for people listening, it's like it's taking the time to assess,
Mm-hmm.
are you in the right sweet spot of targeting the right people? Do you know exactly who you want to target? are you in the path of figuring it out? I think there's
Mhm.
that too. You know, one of the mistakes I've made is I think I had a lot of issues with negatively comparing myself to other people that were way ahead of me in the game and expecting
Yeah.
myself to be there really fast. And
Mhm.
then it creates unrealistic expectations and a lot of, beat
Mhm.
up of yourself. So yeah, great tips. Will you share tell us about SISU Life? What does that mean?
Sisu. Okay, so this is one of my favorite words. So it's SISU, Sisu, is actually a Finnish word. So despite the Italian looks and the Italian name, I'm Finnish on my mom's side of the family, and so we always grew up knowing what this word meant, and it means grit, determination, and tenacity, no matter the
Ooh.
obstacle, no matter the odds. And so it's really kind of a spirit that a lot of the Finnish culture has and kind of how they approach life. And I just love it because my belief is that we all have a little bit of sisu within us. It's not about being Finnish. It's about taking what life dishes out for you on your journey and facing it head on and saying, I got this. That's really what it is. And it's also a little bit of a dedication to my sister. So my sister Sherry, she's younger than me. I'm the oldest of three girls. She suffered a massive stroke last year in March of 2019, and she's very into our Finnish heritage. She's like a Finnish tattoo or a Finnish flag tattooed on her foot and everything. But she's kicking butt. She survived the stroke, and this was like big, massive
Wow.
stroke. She survived the stroke. She's at home with her family. She's still recovering. And it's kind of a dedication to her because she is like the physical embodiment of Sisu, the best example I have ever seen. And so it's really become the brand of my family. I use it a lot in my branding and my marketing. And it's just such a cool concept to talk about. I mean, come on. We all have Sisu in us. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I
Mhm,
love it. It's very NFA. I don't know what you know about my
mhm,
business, but it's
mhm,
NFA, no fucking around coaching.
mhm.
So it's,
That's very much what it is. It's
yes.
like, suck it up. Let's go. You got
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, totally. I
Mhm,
mean, I think it's such a it is a powerhouse mentality, and I think that it's also the entrepreneurial mindset, right?
mhm.
It's like,
It is.
okay, are you willing
Mhm,
to go the
mhm,
distance and have that tenacity and
mhm.
you said grit, determination, tenacity?
Yep, grit,
I mean, like,
determination, and tenacity. There's no
awesome.
direct translation into English.
Yeah.
Uh, it's kind of the definition I gave it. So,
Yeah. I'm curious. Okay, so balancing that because something I've been
mhm,
working on a lot this year is NFA relaxation,
okay.
where I also go like, okay, there's a time
Mhm,
to push and a time to relax. Like
mhm,
there's a time to sow and reap. And so I've been playing with that a lot in my
mhm.
manifestation skills and helping people with that. And so what do you think about like what strategies do you use in terms of keeping that fire going for Sisu
Mhm.
and then balancing it out through, let's say, self-care practices that I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't
Yeah.
do well?
Mhm. That's a great question. Wednesdays, you are not getting on my calendar. Wednesday is family day. My kids get done with distance learning school early, so that's like fun time. We can be out touring, climbing a mountain in the afternoon. And so I just block Wednesdays. You're not getting me on Wednesdays. And that's like a personal boundary I've had to set with clients, and that's fine.
Smart. Yeah.
Also, I'm very it's very simple, but it's calendar blocking. It's like I'm not taking a meeting until 10 a.m. because I need time for me to like drink a gallon of coffee. I need time to help my kids get started with school. I need time to do things I need to do for my business. And so it's like I take clients between 10 and 4, and that's it. And it's not every day. And so it's simple things like that.
Hmm.
And then it's that self-care is so important. And I know self-care is more than like bubble baths and bonbons and wine by the pool, and as exciting as those things are, it's taking time to like for yourself to really think about you, keep your clarity on you, your clients, and your business. Slight tangent. Visit your clarity practices every quarter, 4 times a year. Okay, so keeping your clarity on you, yourself, and your business, and then just making sure you know what's important to you and what self-care means to you. Like me,
Yeah.
I love my husband and I, we love to open a bottle of wine and watch TV at least 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
That's what we like to do. And yeah, we're watching TV, but it's like shows we actually like. We're not just like watching reruns of crappy television.
And it's quality time too. It's like keeping that romantic spark and togetherness.
Yeah, it's quality time for us. And then like I have a dog. I love to go walk the dog. So I make sure to do that a couple times a week. And that for me, that's like some people's treadmill. People say, oh, I get on the treadmill, I get my good ideas. I get my good ideas when I walk the dog.
Nice.
So it's just doing it in. And, for me, my husband is wonderful. Drew is amazing. And I just have to say, look, I need this. Can you watch the kids? And he's usually like, yes. And in return, he will do the same thing. Hey, I need a break, or I need to go do something. Awesome. I gotcha.
Yeah. I would imagine that in an RV, that's incredibly important as well.
It is incredibly important. Yes. And sometimes the kids need a break from us too. So it's like, all right, you go to the playground, just take someone else with you. You can get a break from all of us. Excuse me. I just hit my microphone. I was talking with my hands, and it's supporting the others that you care about so that they can get that self-care time too, because what a world of good it does for you. Imagine what a world of good it does for other people as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Let's hit on, because I know clarity is a powerhouse part of what you do. You said practice review your clarity practices every quarter. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Will you share with listeners about that?
If you're clear on you, your customers, and your business, I want you to sit down and think about that and put it in your calendar at least once a quarter. So you can sit down and say, I have a worksheet I use personally for all of this, but without going into details, you could say, what are my core values? Do I need to add any? Do I need to take any away? Who are my main customers? Has a new type of person exposed themselves asking for my products and services? And if so, do I need to change any of my products and services to better meet their needs? Is my business still meeting its mission? Are we serving the people we want to serve? Those kinds of questions. So 2020 has been wacky, right? So as 2020 is a really good example, I have more people coming to me now saying, I want to start a business than I did in 2019. In 2019, I was focused on a lot more mindset work. Now it's a lot more mechanics and business and how do I start a business? So I'm making sure I can accommodate these people, the higher population of my clients who need this service. And so that's a perfect example. So 2020 has changed business for a lot of people, and we've had to adapt, which is fine. It's just making sure that you are properly serving those you care about.
Yeah, that's so wise. I mean, it's interesting to need to say, but it's so true that we don't take the time to just take a reflective perspective of our business and go, I love that you said, what do I need to add? What do I need to drop? I'm always asking that question and going like, what's working, what's not working? What do I need to add? What do I need to drop? We usually tend to think we need to add something, but often we need to drop something. And then when the climate's changing so much, 2020, people are needing very different things than they were in 2019. And so it sounds to me like, I think it's really valuable what you're sharing is that, for people to sit down and reflect and go like, what's different? What do I need to bring that's different? What are people asking of me? I've noticed that a lot in my business too, of course, during COVID, like just the different needs that people have during this time. What's a tip you could give? You said mechanics. I want to talk a little bit about that. Like talk about business mechanics a little bit and why that's so important for business owners.
Yes. And so the mechanics is how things get done. And this is my slight rant on business mechanics. Entrepreneurs and corporate professionals already know how to do a lot of business things really well. You probably know more than you give yourself credit for. And so a lot of times when people think they need to go acquire a new business mechanic, I'm going to make something up. Like, let's say I need to figure out how to market on LinkedIn. Like that's a new social platform I might need to add. You might know how to do it. You might have some clarity issues that are stopping you or some mindset issues that are stopping you. So before you go work on business mechanics, I always like to ask a lot of questions on, are you sure you know who you're serving and know who you're targeting and know why you need to be on this platform? Okay. Now, are you sure you have, can you write the copy and all that? Because a lot of mindset stuff gets in the way sometimes when we're telling our story. And so business mechanics are very important because that's how business gets done. I like to ask a lot of questions before my clients tell me, oh, I need to learn how to go do this thing. to make sure that they're spending their time wisely and that is something that actually excites them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there is kind of like that triangle between mechanics, clarity, and mindset where all three of those are in tune. You can go do it. And with mechanics, the thing is too that people forget, sometimes you can hire this stuff out. You don't have to be an expert in every single facet of your business. That's why we hire people or we outsource. Like I outsourced my bookkeeping last week to someone who's awesome and is passionate about it. I'm not passionate about bookkeeping. Like it's one of those things I have to do. So that's another question I often ask about mechanics. Like, do you have to do this? Is this your zone of genius? Or can we offload this to somebody else so you can focus on your zone of genius?
Nice. Yeah. Well, what would you recommend for this is a good conversation because, I think people tend to wait too long to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
And so at what moment do you know that you need to be delegating something that's not in your zone of genius?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I'll tell you what it is for me. When I'm sitting here and I have that feeling like, oh, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
That's a good one.
And you're like, wait, this is not, yes, it's required for my business because sometimes it is. And that's my cue. Like I need to go do that. I need to offload this to someone else.
Okay. Awesome.
So
Yeah. I talk a lot about staying in your zone of genius, and it's that, it's such a good indicator when you're dreading something or resenting something in your business.
Yeah. The other indicator is how much money is. So let's talk about revenue. Let's talk about, the generator of all business, which is revenue. Are you going to make more money doing something else than it would to cost you to outsource it? So it's income generating activities versus minimum wage activities.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of like before this camping trip, I rarely went to the grocery store. I would just order it online and had people deliver groceries to me.
Yeah.
Because I can get a better return on my time doing something else than going to the grocery store. And for me, the grocery store is not like this little sanctuary where I get time alone. No, it drives me nuts. But I know some people love it.
Yeah.
So it's that, it's asking, are you dreading it? And can you get a better return on your time doing something else?
Yeah. So true. It's funny because lately I've been going, like I live alone now. My kids are older. So, I'm like just a recent empty nester and my house stays pretty clean. But then when it's time to clean, I'm like, I don't want to clean my house today. Like that's not how I want to spend my free time. And so it's things like that. And I'm totally going to start ordering my groceries. I hate going to the grocery store.
I do too. I really,
I like it if it's like my family is around and we're going to do like a fun family meal or something, but like just for the, daily, weekly stuff, I'm like, if I could have, that's on my list. I want to have, one of my dreams is to have a fully stocked salad bar at all points in time by somebody else. It's like,
I'm going to join you in that dream.
right?
That sounds delicious.
Isn't that amazing? Because I love salad, but it's like takes time to do all that chopping.
This is so funny. I was literally thinking about this morning because I had a wonderful salad at a restaurant yesterday, and I'm like, I love that salad. There's no way I would take the time to make it. Like,
exactly.
That was so funny you said that because I literally thought about that this morning.
Yeah. Oh, especially in an RV. Like RV, I actually lived in an RV for a year with my family, and it was so fun. And you're really limited what you can cook. It's
a good chance to be creative.
Totally.
And figure out new challenges.
Yeah. Let's talk about this a little bit. I mean, you're a wild woman. I mean, 6 kids in an RV running a business.
Yeah.
Tell us some of your adventures.
So we are in week 6 of our journeys. We are from Minnesota. So we went from Minnesota to the Black Hills of South Dakota, and we are now in Colorado. We're leaving on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, for Utah. And so we figured, all right, there's distance learning this year. They gave us the option to take it. Sports are pretty much canceled. We've always wanted to do this. This is the best time because everything I do is virtual.
Yeah.
I mean, everything I had in person is canceled or postponed. So it's all virtual. So let's do it. And so within a span of about 4 weeks, we rented our house. We bought the Beast, which I'm sitting in. We bought a 37-foot travel trailer, and we either stored, purged, or donated our stuff.
Nice.
And so we did that in a span of 4 weeks.
Wow.
And we took off September 8th, and the kids are distance learning while we travel the country. And so we're going to hit about 29 states is the plan right now. And we'll be back home around June 1st or so. And I am so glad we did this. I am having so much fun. And this is a lot better than if we were just sitting at home quarantining, I mean, because we're still like careful when we go out and everything.
Yeah.
It's so much better because I'm literally surrounded by a 360 degree view of mountains right now. Like, I don't have this at home. I am like, I love Colorado. I kind of want to move here.
Fun. I know. Colorado's pretty amazing. I'm a Colorado native.
Yeah, yep. It is pretty amazing. And so, but this is why we wanted to do it. We wanted to make the memories with the kids.
Yeah.
And give them something that they could talk about the rest of their lives. They will remember this the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Because we have friends, like I have a friend, Randy, who is actually rented a cabin at this campground. He's spoiling my kids. Like, he's a grandpa himself. He's spoiling my kids. We get it. It's a chance for them to meet some of our friends we have around the country.
Yeah.
See a different way to approach challenges and be creative and solve those problems that you need to solve to get through life. And we're also giving them more responsibility. And so we're assigning jobs. You know, you do this, you're doing laundry today, you're doing dishes today. And we're giving them a say in what we do too. Like, hey, what sounds good? What do you guys want to do? We have these 3 options. And they're like, go play video games. I'm like, all right, let's go to Dave and Buster's. And so it's really been a great bonding experience. And it's teaching them those things that you don't necessarily learn in a classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, they're learning how to read maps and get us from point A to point B. They're learning, you know, how to, like, the water line froze. What do we do, kids? You know, like that kind of thing. Like,
get resourceful.
Get resourceful.
Yeah.
You know, which happened last night. So it's been a lot of fun, and you know, we're 6 weeks in. It's a 9-month journey. We're going to see a lot. We're going to experience a lot, and I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad we made this decision.
Wow. What's the age split? Like, what are the ages of your kids?
So the youngest is 4 and the oldest is 11. So we have 11, 10, 8, twin boys who are 6, and then 4.
Okay.
And so the 4-year-old is the wild card. She is the Spitfire of all 6 of them. And so she's in preschool, but all the other kids have a lot more structured learning that our school district is providing, which is nice.
Okay. Wow. How fun is that? I mean, I think I'm curious, what would you say is the biggest challenge? Because I'm sure there's challenges in terms of business and family and the mix and the space and all that stuff. What would you say is the biggest challenge of the road trip so far?
The biggest challenge, we still have a lot of clashing personalities with some of the kids. And when I say clashing, like it's typical kids stuff. It's nothing really bad.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I are starting to take a little more hands-off approach. Like, you guys work it out.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be here if like you really need us, but how about you guys work it out first? And they've been a little bit more like, what do you mean? You're not going to sell this right here? We're like, no, you guys get to figure it out. And so that's been a little interesting to, it's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, I would imagine.
We're trying to teach them, like, look, you made a promise. You said this person could use your toy. Let them use your toy. Did you say that? Yes. Then let them, So it's just kind of some of that basic, like, conflict resolution where we're letting them work it out a lot more on their own. The other challenge is we're starting to trust the kids a lot more. And for example, like, hey, I need to go run and use the restroom, because most of the campgrounds have a public restroom. And instead of just like being like, okay, I'll go with you. No, you know what? You got this. You're okay.
Yeah.
I'll, take 5 minutes. If it's longer than 5 minutes, I'm going to come looking for you, but you're okay. And so that's been a change for myself and my husband, which is a good change, is that we're learning to trust the kids more, where in the past there's been a few things that, where we're like, maybe not. So it's good.
Which is so interesting, because it teaches them to have like that freedom and flexibility, teaches them responsibility. They're like, oh, I'm trustworthy and I can do it. Yes. And then they have this independence. I think it's, it's fascinating. When my kids were little, we unschooled for a long time because of that, all those things. It was like, oh, let's let them be student driven and student led and figure things out and, project oriented. And it was incredible in many ways. Yeah. Okay. I'm curious, business wise, when when I'm thinking about living in an RV with a family and your car is your office, I'm sure it creates some practical challenges.
Yes.
But are you feeling like it's something that you would recommend to other people to do? It's fascinating to me.
I would, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to know when to set those boundaries, and you have to train, essentially you're training those around you to respect those boundaries. So
Yeah.
the kids know when mommy's in the car, that's her office. Go to daddy if you need something.
Okay.
I will do work as much as I can on my computer, like at the table while the kids are doing their homework. So the kids know if I'm there, if I'm sitting next to them, they can ask a question.
Yeah.
So it's really training them like, hey, if I'm in my car, mommy's off limits and daddy's right here. And
Yeah.
making sure that daddy is there so that if they need something, they can find him. Right.
Yeah.
So that's been, otherwise I recommend it. I mean, it's been so much fun. And it's
Yeah.
really, we're rewriting the rule book is really what we're doing. And it's not just us, it's everybody this year with like working at home and
Yeah.
constant Zoom meetings. I mean, we're rewriting the rule book on what it means to work and provide tangible value and service.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. We
Yeah.
don't need a fancy corner office. If people have an issue or a challenge with me having a meeting in my car, they're probably not my client.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah. I
that's
would
just how
imagine the people that you attract your way think it's really cool and they're like,
yeah,
good for you. I want that too. I want the
I
freedom to
know.
do what I want
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what I coach people a lot on. Yes, it's the clarity and it's the mechanics and it's the mindset, but really it's your lifestyle. Are you living the life you love? And
Yeah.
if not, let's think about how we can change it so you can.
Yeah. All right. Like, isn't that what we all want through our
Mm-hmm.
businesses or
Yeah.
really just in life in general? I look at business building as
Mm-hmm.
the reason I really, really value business building is the flexibility it gives
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to do exactly what I want in
Mm-hmm.
the career world and make as much money as I want to make doing
Mm-hmm.
it, depending on how much time and energy I want to put in and,
Yeah.
like all of those different things. And to me, that's such a gift.
Yes.
It's like ultimate freedom. Yes, there are stressors that come with being an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur that are different than having a job, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like I just, my why is so powerful, my vision is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I love it. I'm so excited to do what you're doing. Like I don't know, my kids are older, so they won't be along with me anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. I just recently did a trip to Montana by
Mm-hmm.
myself, and was like I'm going to practice a work vacay and see how it feels, and just take everything with me, get an Airbnb, work during the day like I normally do, and then go on
Mm-hmm.
adventures at night and on the weekend, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Good
Yeah.
for you. I
Yeah.
love
So
it. Yeah.
those are the
It's
next.
been a real treat so far, honestly,
Yeah.
because my clients are like, this is so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, they're 100% behind me. Everyone, we've met some awesome people at the campgrounds. They're like, that's awesome. Good for
Yeah.
you. And so I had, one person was like, oh my gosh, I think you're crazy. And I'm like, okay,
I mean, you're
that's
like,
fine.
yeah, I kind of am, but good
A little bit.
crazy.
It's good. It's a good, yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
crazy. It's a
So
good crazy.
yeah, share with us what's a big project you're working at. Do you mostly just work with one-on-one clients? Or are you doing other projects?
Yes. So this is the beautiful thing. I'm doing a little more boutique style with my business right now because we are on this awesome road trip. So I'm only doing one-on-one right now, which I love. I will have some group programs I will implement once we get back. And another project is actually we're turning this whole trip into a YouTube channel. And
Oh,
so I've been
cool.
spending a lot of time with that. We have a YouTube channel called The Ruby Road. The kids are the star of the channel. Every video is kid friendly because we don't want to worry about what our kids are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Ruby is the name of our camper. So we have Ruby and the Beast. And so that's where the Ruby comes from. So it's a lot of fun. I just put up a new episode earlier today. Go check it out, The Ruby Road on YouTube. And that's been because the kids get to be like, Mom, take a video of me doing this. It can be in the YouTube channel. And it's just a fun way for them to think about things. And like,
Yeah.
my friends and my classmates would really want to see this and they need to know this information. So get your phone out and take a video right now.
That is
It's so
so
cute.
fun. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to check it out. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I love that. I did a podcast interview earlier today and we were talking about, our kids as entrepreneurs. And I think one of the huge, beautiful gifts that you're giving your kids is that you are on the
Mm-hmm.
road showing them how you can do entrepreneurship, be a parent, have fun hobbies, meet new people, like all these cool adventures. So it's awesome
Mm-hmm.
to integrate them into that and let them be creative. And then who knows where it will go, right?
I
It's
know.
just so fun. Good for you. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. It's so fun to get to talk to you. Trying to think if there's anything else. I want to know. Yeah. I mean, you and I are so in alignment with what we do in the world. It's like clarity. And I don't know that I would call it mechanics, but it's like clarity and helping people with mindset and that business mindset and working with them. What would you say are the top 3 max potential habits that got you where you are today, or that you believe got you where you are today?
Oh, great question. One, I already touched on it. Saying no to things that are not in alignment with you. So if you're not meant to do it, don't do it. And that's okay. No is a very powerful word.
Yes.
Number 2 is I get very specific in goal setting with the actions I'm going to do. So a lot of people I find are rather loosey-goosey about their goal settings, and they don't really write down or think about what is the verb you're going to perform. And so when I set goals, I'm very clear on what verbs I will do to get me there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll ask you after you say all 3. I'm going to dig into each of these because they're good.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And number 3, know what you want. And if it changes, that's okay. Know what you want. You have to know what that end goal is or that success criteria. Because if you're loosey-goosey on what you want, like you said, the universe is just going to give you something.
Yep. To help you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Just might take you a lot longer. Okay.
Yes.
I want to give listeners a practical strategy for saying no, because I think people really struggle with this one. Like, they don't know what to say or do when they get stuck in, in those. I mean, I have people asking me all the time to do things, and I've gotten really good at saying no.
Yeah.
But it was hard for me at first. So will you give listeners some practical ways to say no?
Yes. So 2 things. Number 1, it's like the 5-second rule. Yet it's not for dropping food on the floor. It's like you have 5 seconds to make a decision, and if it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Nice.
Makes sense?
That's great.
So if I said, hey, will you interview this person? And if you're like, no, that's a no.
Okay.
If it's an instant yes, then it's a yes.
Awesome.
The second tip I would give is kind of like a negotiation. And I use this a lot when I worked in the corporate. Like, hey, Carmen, go do this. I could. That means something else comes off my plate. What is it going to be?
Yeah.
Right. So you're giving that other person a choice who's asking you to do something on what's not going to get done. Make sense?
Yep. Good one.
Yep. So that's another way you can say no. And if you're like, well, nothing, it's like, well, then no, I can't do it. So
yeah.
Easy.
That's great. One thing, it's funny when you said the 5-second rule. For me, it's like often it was pausing before I said yes, because I had almost like an automatic response to saying yes to people, and I would I would almost avoid having people ask me to do things. I would try to avoid it because I didn't know how to say no, and so I'd be resentful when they asked me, because I'm like, I don't really want to do it, but I don't know how to say no. Like, you get in this trap, and so instead, when someone asked me something, I got in the habit of pausing just to like check in with myself. It's like, do I want to do this? And then I love it. The addition, like, is it a hell yes? If it's not, it's a hell no. Like, so simple. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Goal setting. I've been talking a lot with my people about this. Will you give listeners, you were talking about the verb-based goal setting. Will you give listeners an example of what that looks like to you? Like, when you're writing out a goal for yourself.
So let's just take an example. Instead of saying, I will post on social media more, like that could be a goal.
Okay.
Well, okay. I will get very specific on what that verb is. So posting is the verb.
Okay.
Where are you going to post? What are you going to post? How many times a day? What time of day? I mean, get as detailed as you can with those actions.
Okay.
And it could even be like, okay, after I post, I will go back and respond to comments for 10 minutes a day. So, I mean, get as detailed as you can.
Yeah.
Because posting more on social media, that doesn't tell you anything. That doesn't tell you what you have to do.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody, you could interpret it that one way. I could interpret that a different way. And random person over there could interpret it yet a third way.
Right.
So almost get almost like SOP, almost standard operating procedure as much as you can.
Okay. Do you set annual goals, or do you do, this is a big conversation among me and my clients lately too, where I've been doing vision-based goals. So we set like the longer term vision, and then we do really practical steps each week of what you can do to get to the long-term vision, letting the timeline and the really, like instead of setting a goal of like, I want to make $1 million by this date, and then you don't do it, and then you feel like you beat yourself up. So instead it's this like idea of, okay, I'm going to set a vision-based goals, and then I'm going to take actions every day, like posting. I'm going to post 5 times on LinkedIn at 1:00 every day, and then letting what happens with that momentum meet the long-term vision. So I'm curious for you, do you set annual goals? Do you set quarterly goals? How does that work for you?
Both. So I do have annual goals. I also have quarterly goals, and then I will break those down even further to like, okay, I need to do this week. Next week it's going to be different. And it's with business. I do that. I also do that with personal things. Like I just had to adjust a goal recently to accommodate this trip. I'm in Taekwondo and I'm a provisional belt. I was supposed to test for my black belt in August, and due to this trip and COVID, because you can't spar virtually with people, I'm pushing that back to when I get back in June. So it'll probably be August 2021 where I will test for my black belt.
Okay.
And it's like the goal is still there. The goal is get black belt, to black belt.
Yeah.
I just had to push the timeline back due to outside circumstances.
Okay.
And so that's fine. The goal is not going away. The goal will be accomplished.
Okay.
It's just a different timeline.
Yeah.
And so
that's great.
Sometimes I had to just adjust it so I could go on this trip.
Yeah. Right. It's reminding me, like, to me, it's tied to your number 3. It's knowing what you want, but then I call it flexible goals, where you go, sometimes there's going to be pivots. Like we couldn't have, I don't think a lot of people could have ever predicted that COVID was going to happen. And that probably changed some people's timelines of their goals, and they still have the same trajectory, but they're going to pivot a little bit in the way that they get there. So it's like the zigzag path of getting there. You still have the beacon and your point that you're on your way to, but the path and the timeline might change a little bit. That's cool. Yes, okay. Precisely. Wonderful. So share with listeners where they can find you.
Awesome. So my website is www.truesisulife.com. Also check out therubyroad.com. That leads you to our YouTube channel, where you can see all the fun, the good, bad, and the ugly of our adventure on this 9-month distance learning camping trip. And I'm on Facebook mostly. Just look for Carmen Ventrucci. You're going to find me. And that's about it.
Awesome. Wonderful. And of course, you all know that all those links will be in the show notes. Thank you so much. It's been super fun to have you on. I'm going to be thinking about you and your family on the trip, on the road. I think that's such a cool way to build a business and model for your kids and have adventures. And like, that's awesome. Like high fives. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone. I hope that you have an adventurous week filled with building your business in a way that brings you joy and being willing to take a risk like Carmen's done, like just do something totally different and break it up. Maybe you're not going to sell everything and rent your house and go in an RV, but try something new. I talked about this as pattern interrupts. When we have these opportunities, when the whole world is different now than we've ever seen it before and forever will be different, do something new, shake it up. As a habits podcast, that's you breaking up the habitual automatic habits and then seeing what else is possible by trying something different. So that's what I want to say at the end of this awesome podcast episode. Thanks for being here. I hope you all have a max potential week where you thrive and feel alive and step into new adventures. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. If you're liking what you've heard, it would be so incredibly awesome if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating and a written review. This helps me help more people while we grow our NFA community so we can rock it out together. For Max Potential Habits resources, go to nfacoaching.com, where you can access all of my resources. There's free ebooks, PDF checklists, a journal template, a business mindset meditation kit, and so much more. Plus, links to NFA coaching on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're super serious about up-leveling, there's also a link to schedule a free consult to work with me in group or one-on-one coaching. Until next time, I hope you have a Max Potential Habits Day where you get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead a rich, thriving, kick-ass life and business.